guys, Victoria Paxton here. Thanks for stopping back by my psychic life, my psychic wife. So today I'm really excited because I'm going to be doing a reading for Amanda, also known as KetoGinja on YouTube. Hey Amanda.
Hi. Hey, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think we're just gonna get this thing started.
Okay.
So, okay, let me explain a few things. So, um, I I won't go into talking about like if I see death or something. I won't ever discuss that with someone. Um, if it's something that I know could potentially have a different ending, for example, like if I have a vision of a car accident,
Mm-hmm.
then I would say, look, stay off this road, watch, I'll give you hints like that, but I would never flat out say, I think you're going to die tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, that's not my job. That's the universe. That's God. That's whoever. That's not me. So, yeah. So that's one thing I won't do. I'm really different with my readings. There are a lot of psychics out there that um, will basically tell you what you want to hear. That's not how I do it. These gifts that I have were given to me for a reason. I don't take them for granted, and I would never tell someone what they wanted to hear or BS them in any way, shape, or form. What you hear is what you get. It's there. I don't have the power to change it, so I'm just gonna say what I get. Um, I can see past, present, and future. I'm a psychic medium, so I can connect with spirit. I can also, like I said, see past, present, future, visions, dreams, that sort of thing. And I was telling Amanda earlier, I have had some things going on last night, and I even wrote it down at 7:27 p.m. I started having all this stuff come to me, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to remember this, so I need to write it down. So, okay, so let me tell you, the first thing I started getting, and it was really hard for me to decipher, was Cherokee. I kept getting the word Cherokee, and then I kept getting this strange word. I had to write it down because I didn't know what it was. It's like Salagi.
Okay.
I have no idea what that means, and I'm not getting any clarification on it. But I do. So when I first started getting this, my thought was, oh, that's Amanda's probably Cherokee. That's what it is. But as time went on, I kept getting I was getting more references to, believe it or not, an Indian chief, and it kept going to this Indian chief, and I could picture him, in his celebration, his native celebration garb. I could see him perfectly, and I kept getting like these little tidbits about him. Okay, then this other character, and I say character loosely, I don't mean character literally, but this other man came into the picture, and from what I could see, he seemed to be like, hold on. Okay, sometimes when I'm going over a reading, I get more stuff coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and my brain goes crazy. Um, okay, so, wow, this is weird. Okay, so the other guy that's coming in, okay, so this obviously has to be past life, okay? Because I'm seeing your husband,
He's
Dan.
Cherokee, Victoria.
Is he?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Dan,
so funny.
it comes from Dan's mom's side. Her
Wow.
and I are extraordinarily close. Like, the fact that she's not my birth mother is, she's the most important person in my life, other than my immediate family. They don't know a lot about their past, but she was born in West Virginia on Cherokee land. Like,
Wow.
she's Cherokee.
Wow, I have goosebumps.
Me too.
I have goosebumps so bad because let me tell you something. Later down here, I wrote um, Pocahontas and the Holler in West Virginia. So, and
That's Regina's heritage.
wow, because I actually have family from Pocahontas, and so
Amazing.
when I kept getting that, it's like further down the page. When I kept getting that, I was like I was picturing like a holler that was near my grandmother's house. And I
Mhm.
was like, why am I getting this? Why am I getting it? And it didn't make any sense. So wow, yeah, wow. Now that kind of makes sense because I kept seeing just now. I was seeing Dan, and I was like, wow, wow, that's
Yep,
pretty wild. Okay, that's pretty wild. Okay,
that's so cool.
okay. That's so wild.
And
Okay,
she's just, I mean, she is so important to me. Like,
yeah, I
I
can
don't
feel
have
it.
a close relationship with my family, so she came to me at a time in my life where I desperately needed her. So her and I are connected in a very special way.
So that's funny that you said that because further down, I have issues with mom. Um, yeah, so I was feeling that there's a lot of tension there, and there's a lot of past stuff that hasn't been resolved. Um, and unfortunately, I kind of feel like when I was getting this, I kind of felt like it's not going to matter what you do. It's not going to matter how hard you try. It's always going to be on your relationship's always going to be on the outs. It's always going to be on the edge. There's never going to be 100% trust there. Um, yeah, because that's really sad to me. You know.
It's been like that my whole life.
Yeah, that's funny.
My mom has mental issues that aren't medicated. She probably needs a kind of help that she'll never receive, whether it's
Yeah.
financial or her just not being able to do it. It's been like this my whole life. So I don't want to say that I'm okay with it because I'm not. You know I'm not.
Right.
It makes me sad, but I've gone through a level of acceptance that what I picture as a mother-daughter relationship isn't going to come from my biological mom.
Right.
So
Well, without going into too much detail, I actually had written down here. I was given a medical term for her, for your mom, and we
mhm.
don't need to go into that, but I do have that down here, and
Okay.
I definitely got that there were definitely mental issues there. Yeah,
There it is, for sure.
yeah, and it just it breaks my heart because you know I keep getting like it could be resolved, but it's not gonna be. It's
No,
not.
not in her lifetime,
Yeah.
unfortunately. I My mom's side of the family, there's a lot of mental illness. There always was, and she doesn't know her biological dad. So there are a lot of unanswered questions genetically, and it's something that, when you're younger, it's your parents, but as you mature, you realize like, no, this isn't quite right.
Yeah.
This isn't quite right. And once I had my children, all I cared about was protecting them from any hurt or potential pain. So I will cut people out immediately to protect them.
Yep. That's the way it needs to be.
Yeah.
And it's ironic that you were saying about her dad because I have um, grandfather and then taking his own life question marks.
Interesting.
Yeah. At first, I was thinking maybe it was like an uncle. It kind of felt more like, yeah, more like an uncle that you're distant from and you're not real close to. So
Hmm.
this makes sense because, um, yeah, I kept thinking, okay, it's an uncle, it's a distant relative, but then no, it was grandfather for sure, and taking his own life. So that would make sense because he was distanced from your mom and you,
Hmm.
so that would make sense.
Yeah, we don't know who he is. Like even my mom's birth certificate is questionable,
Wow,
so we're not 100% sure who he is. It's been like this big family secret. No one knows.
wow.
Bizarre.
Yeah, we've had issues like that because my husband's mom, my mother-in-law, she's passed now, but she was adopted. And so it was like, when I came into the family, it was 30 years of trying to research and figure it all out. And yeah, so that's kind of hard when, yeah, that's hard. We don't need to go into it. That is hard. Because, there's a part of my mother-in-law, just like there was a part of my husband that, you always wonder, you know, you wonder like what kind of person they were, their life. So yeah, that's hard. Wow, yeah, that would be really hard.
I
Um,
think it causes her great pain that she
yes,
never really discussed, and it's shaped her life in that way.
yeah,
So, you have a choice as to how things affect you.
yeah, exactly. And unfortunately, a lot of people choose to let things like that eat them alive.
Mm-hmm.
And we have too many. There are too many. Life's too short. There are too many things in life than to sit around and let something like that tear you down. I mean, you just can't. You know. I think thyroid is connected directly to you. I think that's something, but I feel like it's like it's not present today.
Mm-hmm.
It's like something in the future that could happen, so you need to
Okay.
kind of watch out for that.
Okay.
Okay. Do you by chance have an issue with a light in your living room?
Yeah. With us. How much do you want me to tell you?
Go for it, because I kept getting the light.
I'm under the we've always been under the impression that the electrical in my living room was just weird, which is funny because Dan is like an apprenticing electrician, so he's knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So stuff that I'm saying is happening, he's telling me it's not the electrical. So can you see my Christmas lights in the background?
Yeah, I can see them. Yeah.
That wall always has Christmas lights. Like no matter what time of year it is, I have some kind of lighting there because I just love that ethereal lighting.
Yeah.
You know how a strand of Christmas lights would normally last like years?
Oh yeah.
I have to replace them constantly.
Wow.
Constantly.
Okay.
Anything that gets plugged into that outlet and that part of the wall, something happens. So like the Christmas lights go out, it'll start with one or two, and I think it's just nothing. And now I'm getting like goosebumps. I think it's nothing because I'm like, oh, there's just something wrong with the electrical. But even with a brand new strand, like I just plugged those in like a week ago, there's already, oh, there's more missing now. That's funny.
Yeah.
It kills them. They just die.
Okay, so I was getting the light, and I was getting this guy, and he was laughing about it. Like he was literally like, yeah, it's just funny to him. It's just a big joke, and he feels like, oh, Amanda, Dan, they're okay with it. They're okay with it. They get it. I'm sure they'll figure out it's me type of thing. I feel like he was kind of cocky about it, like, um, yeah, he was kind of cocky about it, like, oh yeah, you know, they're gonna figure out it's me. They'll know it's me, kind of deal. And he's a younger guy, and I'm wondering if it's not, okay. So I can feel him, right? But I can't see him right now, but I can feel him.
Okay.
But every time, with the exception of one video of yours that I've watched, every time you show your boys, I can see him there.
I think it's Matt. I've always thought it was Matt. Always.
Yeah, because he's always right there, and he's kind of like, oh, what are you doing in here? Sorry, my kitty.
I love kitties.
Her name's Ella Maybe. My dog is D minor, so we had to name the cat something weird.
Well,
yeah.
Levi's named after Matthew, so his name is Levi Matthew. I found out I was pregnant with Levi right after Matt died, and he was mischievous. So the fact that you're saying that like he thinks it's funny and hilarious, he was like a prankster, jokester, like his energy when he was alive, you wanted to be friends with him. He was special, and we just adored him. And naming Levi after him was so important to me. Like when I found out I was pregnant, I knew it was a boy because I knew that God knew that I needed to name him after Matthew. So we did a gender reveal, but I'd known it was a boy from the second I found out I was pregnant. I knew it. I just knew it.
Yeah, he definitely, whenever I see your boys in the video, he's just kind of like, yeah, just happy, smirking, But there was only one video that you did that I didn't see him. One, and that was it. And I can't remember what it was. I think you showed Levi one time, but I didn't see him on that one. But every other video, he's always there. Whenever you show the boys, he's right there. So, and I think he is connected to the light
It
situation.
makes me feel so good that he's aware of how great they are.
Yeah.
Like, that matters to me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can feel the type of person that he is. He was a good guy.
Very much.
We all have our issues, but he was a really good guy.
He was in trouble a lot, but who isn't?
Yeah, right.
You're a
Especially when
mischievous
you're young and dumb.
dick. Yeah, like we all did.
Exactly. Okay. Oh, so hold on. I gotta drink my diet Traparaca.
Yum. Yeah, I miss him so much, and his mom is in so much pain, and I don't know. She has two other sons, his brothers, and they're amazing, and I don't know if she'll ever recover from his death. Like I don't know that she ever will, and it makes me so sad because
Well, I can do it.
I can't imagine, but I know that she just misses him beyond missing something, like pain.
Yeah. I know. I lost a child. I was pregnant, and my ex-husband was abusive, so I did lose a child that way. And I always said, like, I couldn't imagine having years with your child and then bam, they're taken away. I couldn't
Me
imagine.
neither. Me neither.
Well, maybe at some point, I could connect with her and try to connect with her son and give her some messages from her son.
That would be very special.
Yeah, I would love.
She's an incredible person. She's incredible. And
Yeah,
he was just, a total mama's boy, like a lot of them are, I love that for her. And, I feel like when someone dies from an illness, it's not okay, but there's an explanation,
Yeah, and it's a little bit easier to know that, oh, he was sick and he passed. Yeah,
so you
I
just get in a car accident, like you leave and say goodbye, and then you're just gone. Like I think that is so much harder for the living to process, and it's so much harder to grieve because there's so much like why?
Yeah.
Why did you go that way? Why did there's questions that can never be answered. Whereas if someone passes from an illness, like okay, they passed from an illness, And I know that I don't know if she'll ever be the same,
Probably not. I mean, I hate to say that, but I have a friend that's daughter took her own life. She was 14. And, yeah. And it's been, the anniversary was last week, and, she'll never be right. It was her only child, and she'll never be right. Like, there's just so many unanswered questions. But I am going to get with her and connect with her daughter for her because, I think, and maybe in your friend's mom's situation, I think a lot of times that brings them some comfort to know, that they're okay and that, they're there still. And, I mean, I love doing that for people, I've had people, I give free readings all the time, and, I've never heard of a psychic that gives free readings.
Me neither. Never.
It's always usually about money, and I can't justify having someone sitting there mourning when I know I can go up to them and connect them with their loved one and give them a little bit of peace, How can you not do that as a psychic? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I mean, I would probably put myself in the poorhouse because it would be so hard for me not to do that for people. Like,
exactly.
You have this gift, no one has it. It's so few and far between. It's beautiful that you do that for people.
No, I feel like that's the least I can do. For whatever reason, I was blessed with this, and it makes no sense to me not to be able to, because that's the worst thing in life is to lose someone you love, like, especially tragically. So how can you not? I don't know. I don't understand most psychics because I have a real problem with that.
Well, and it gives me trust issues because I'm like, okay, so are you really just in this for the money, or do you believe in the divine power that you truly have? Because what if you won the lottery tomorrow and you're now 50 million richer? Would you still do this for people, or is it a job? You know what I mean? Like that's a defining difference to me. Like to me, a true gift, you can't stop yourself from doing it for people. It's something that just genuinely comes out of you.
Well, and it's like that a lot. Like we'll be someplace random, and I'll get something, and I can't walk away. Like, because when I first started getting my gifts started getting stronger, that happened one time, and I did walk away, and I felt horrible. Like oh my God, that person, she probably needed to hear that, and I didn't tell her, So yeah, don't get me started on psychics, and because
I've been approached randomly several times in my life, like just in a parking lot and I just wasn't, I felt like I was being, like they were going to scam me or something. Like I don't think that I believed strongly enough. And I didn't think someone would just walk up to me in a Target parking lot and be like, you need to know this,
Yeah,
But now over the years, it's happened enough times where I'm like, I must just be real open.
you are. You're you
You
are. You're wide open. But that's a good thing, though. That's a really good thing. Because a lot of times, people like doing this for so many years, people a lot of times are so closed off to the point of where they've got to be miserable. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
That's
there has to be a part of you that I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but and
I
I was
think so many things in life are not explainable, but that
right,
doesn't make them less valid. You
right,
know?
right, definitely. Okay, well let's get back to this. So, um, yeah, so I put down here about your coincidences lately are not coincidences. Okay, this is good. So, okay, so your boys.
Mhm.
I kept getting last night. I can't remember the exact words. It was like I can't remember, but it was like progress, 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 progress. Went to sleep last night. Had a bunch of nightmares. Was having a hard time sleeping. But at one point when I fell back to sleep, I dreamt about your babies, and um, like they're going to, without a doubt, the next like 2 years, they're gonna go and they're gonna improve so drastically over the next 2 years. They're going to improve so drastically. Seriously, I have goosebumps, but yeah, they're just you'll see. Before you know it, they're gonna take off.
I know every mom thinks their kid is special. Like, my kids are truly special.
They
There's
are.
something different about them. And I knew that from the moment I laid eyes on them before I even could comprehend it.
Yeah,
But there's a special kind of light that comes out of them that other
yeah,
kids don't have.
yeah.
So
No,
that's
I totally can see that. The other thing that I wanted to ask you is, do you notice anything with Levi? Do you notice, do you notice him looking at things that aren't there? Do you notice him talking?
all the time. But
Yeah,
it's autism, remember? So they're
yeah,
autistic. So immediately we can explain all of that away with autism because, but he has he's in his own world a lot of the time,
yeah,
like more than anyone I've ever met. And of course they call it autism, but like, is it? Like, I know he's autistic, I get that, but I think that I always joke that he's seeing the world through like a different set of eyes. Like, he he understands things that he can't verbalize,
yeah.
like complex emotions for a little boy, very much so. And it's been like that since he was 6 months
Yeah, I definitely feel like, at the very least, he's a sensitive.
old. Hmm.
I would also go so far as to say that there's definite psychic medium abilities there. And I know, they say all kids have that when they're little and they grow out of it. But I'm here to tell you with him, it's different.
I think it is too.
Yeah, it's much more intense. There's more to it than, oh, he's autistic. Oh, he's a kid. All kids are like this. They'll grow out of it. I think there's more there with him.
There is
Definitely.
something special there. So that confirms what I've always said because
Yeah.
everyone thinks their kid is special. There's something about him, and there always has been. Lincoln's wonderful. He's a delight. He's a treasure. He's the sweetest kid alive. Levi is different, and
Yeah.
I connect with him differently because of that.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, I think too the connection, because you have psychic abilities, so it makes sense that there's that special connection there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had that with my 28-year-old, my son. I knew he was a boy before I knew I was pregnant. I knew my first kid was going to be a boy after I had lost my other one. But I knew, and he can see demons. He can do all the stuff that I can do. Now, as he's gotten older, he kind of stuffs it down a little bit.
He doesn't want the gift.
Well, it's not that he doesn't want it. He's just not. He's a very outgoing person like I am.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my husband is like the most introverted guy you'd ever meet. So I was always like, oh my gosh, please just let Chris be an extrovert, which he is, okay? But when it comes to his gifts, he kind of stuffs them and kind of, I think he's just apprehensive. You know, he sees how I am, and I think he's just kind of like, do I really want that life all the time? To
He
where,
probably doesn't want it to take over his life, and I don't even see that as selfish. I think it's like emotionally preserving himself. So
Yeah.
I'm proud of that for you and for him, that he at least can recognize, like, this isn't what I want for myself.
Yeah.
And like, lucky for him that he can stuff it down a little bit, because I'm sure some people can't. You can't.
I can't.
You
Yeah.
just act like this isn't happening.
Yeah. And I truly believe, because as I've gotten older, I've come out more with my gifts, you know, and I truly believe that's probably going to happen with him as well. You know, eventually he's going to start realizing that, it's there, I might as well do something with it.
Or he's going to lose someone.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. He's going to lose someone, and it's going to become integral for him to harness it for, like, his own, you know, I don't know. I just feel like for his own emotions, something's going to have to happen to him.
Well, I'll tell you, his best friend committed suicide 2 years ago. And he says all the time, he's like, Mom, I feel him. His name was Guppy. He was such a cute guy. He was in the Marines, and he's had a little baby. And
Suicide?
Yeah. And, you know, it was a hard thing. I mean, like, he was a regular member of our household growing up, you know.
You strike me as that kind of mama.
Oh, yeah. I always had everybody in my house, you know.
That's going to be me.
Yeah.
Making 19 sandwiches. No
Yeah,
problem.
Exactly. I had little kids that begged not to go home, you know. They were like, you know, this little girl was like, I don't want to go home. I want to live here, you know.
I'll take them. Come on.
Yeah. That's how we were. I mean, we adopted our older two. So I have this woman, and you're getting to know her. And okay, look, when I was getting this information, I was like, damn it. I'm like, Amanda's going to think it's me. I was like, this is not good. So I have this woman, and like, you're getting to know her, and you're going to do some. Hold on. Okay, good. Okay. Before I was questioning if this had to do with like your being a photographer or the YouTube end of it, but I just heard. So you're getting to know this person through YouTube, and I don't know if it means they're going to do a collab with you or sponsorship. I don't know, but anyway, okay. So she does not have your best interest at heart.
Okay.
And you're probably going to start seeing it pretty quickly. I don't even know. I kind of feel like you may not even know her yet. Like, she may not even be in the picture yet.
Okay.
But yeah, you'll start seeing immediately, like, little signs. She does not have your best interest at heart.
Okay.
You do not want to, excuse me, I wouldn't share too much of my life with her.
Okay.
Other than what you put on YouTube. I wouldn't, you know what I mean? I wouldn't go into too many details.
Okay.
You know?
Noted.
Yeah. And I mean, I can picture this woman too. She's on the shorter side. She has like brownish, reddish hair down to her shoulders. A little bit chubby. But yeah, you need to watch her, because And when I say she doesn't have your best interest at heart, it goes further. It's not even just about, how do I say this? Okay. She could potentially cause you harm.
Okay.
So, I need you to take that seriously. And if you start seeing signs, like you'll see red flags. There will be red flags with this person. But she's almost like obsessive.
Okay.
And like she's almost pushing her way into your life and pushing for you to be friends, and you just need to like back away.
This sounds so messed up, but this happens to me all the time. Like my whole life, I attract people that want to kind of force fit.
Yeah, I could see that. 'Cause
So,
I used to always say I have a loser magnet on my forehead. Will every loser within a 100-mile radius please line up and see me?
me too. If you could line up and take advantage of me, that would be really wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's no one that necessarily fits the bill right now.
Yeah, I don't feel like. I feel like maybe you haven't met her.
She's coming.
Yeah, I feel like you haven't met her yet. Or wait, no, don't let me say that now. Not that you haven't met her, but I just get the feeling. I don't know for a fact, but I get the feeling like I don't think you've met her yet.
Okay.
But I'm not 100% on that either. So.
Okay.
And yeah, scary.
Like stalker stuff, yeah?
Yeah. And here's the weird thing.
That's my worst nightmare, by the way.
I can believe
my
it.
worst nightmare.
I mean, you have babies to protect, for God's sake, you know?
Yeah.
It's interesting that you were talking about people being connected because, so, it appears that you and Dan were connected, right? I got right before World War I.
Okay.
So, and I kept getting that, and it was weird because I was getting the Cherokee thing, and I was seeing this chief, but it was different. I don't know how to explain it. It was different because, like, the Cherokee thing felt more present, I guess is the word. So, but I guess what I was getting was, you were connected right before World War I started. You two were together. And then he evidently must have gotten killed in the war. And so you were alone. But I didn't.
Hey. Dog. The dachshund goes at the pit bull like he's big man. Ridiculous.
Oh. Yeah, so I think that, you guys were definitely connected before, for sure, at least at one time.
What's crazy about that, Dan doesn't talk about this a lot because it's like one of his biggest life's regrets, but Dan wanted to be a Marine. That was his dream. He wanted to be a Marine. That was his dream, and that's what he lived his whole life to do.
Right.
He got hurt during boot camp and was injured to the point that he can't be in the military, and it was probably his most crushing life hurdle. Granted, this probably never would have happened. Like, he gets it now that everything, Sancho, go lay down, enough, that everything happens for a reason. But he was compelled to be in the military, so that makes sense to me, because if that was part of who he has been, what felt comfortable to him. He is even without being in the military, like, that man's a soldier. Like, he's a knight in shining armor for a stranger kind of person. He would run into the fire for his enemy. Like, that's just what he's made of. And brave, you know? So I feel like
sounds a lot like my husband. That makes
a lot of sense to, like, who he is now.
Yeah, that does make a lot of sense because, and I kept feeling like, okay, so
Stop.
In the military you have the leaders and then you have the soldiers. Mm-hmm. And I did feel like he was, hold on. Wow. Yeah, I definitely think he was higher up because I can see him. It wasn't even they hadn't even shipped out or whatever. But I could see him talking to other people and, you know, comforting them and telling them it's going to be okay. You know what I mean? Like, this is, you know, we're going into this. It's going to be scary, but we're all going to be okay, and we're all going to come out of this. Which, ironically enough, he passed away. But
He's the bravest person I've ever met.
yeah, yeah. So that makes sense that he would be reassuring everybody else. You know.
Yeah, very much so. That's his role. That's his make.
Yeah. He reminds me a lot of my husband.
We're lucky.
Yeah, we are.
There's a lot of fragile men amongst us.
Oh my God, no doubt. Especially nowadays. Good Lord.
I'll tell you what.
Okay, so here's the other interesting thing. So I kept picturing almost like, okay, like a plantation house. Okay? Like this glorious 1800s gorgeous home. And I couldn't ever get, I kept trying to get, like, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Okay, and I couldn't get it. And then I got up this morning, and all of a sudden, it just pops into my head, and I'm like, where did that come from? So, have you considered buying a venue? Because this is now, it makes more sense to me now. Buying a venue to do weddings and to do events and stuff, because that's...
Yeah, it's our dream. I mean, that's me and my photo partner's ultimate dream, but we've never talked about that to anybody. That's like private car conversation.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, because I totally saw that, and I do see that happening in the future.
Amazing. Because I won't be able to do what I do physically forever. You know what I mean? Like, the reality of that is, as I age, like, where does a photographer age out of shooting weddings? Like, there has to be a next step.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my dream.
So, yeah, so I didn't get, like, that much more. Maybe little things here and there, but I don't know what they mean, so I'm not going to put them out there yet until I know what they mean, if that makes sense.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh, and I do have, okay, so we talked about your grandfather and suicide potentially. But I'm still not convinced. Okay, I felt like he came through, but there was also somebody else there. Yeah, like I'm not getting anything about it, but I did feel like he was with somebody else that is connected to you. So obviously it has to be like a relative or something.
Well, I had an uncle Michael, who was a drug addict, and he died in a suspicious way. Basically, he overdosed, is what we were told, and he was just kind of left in a hotel room and was found several days later. He was a really special part of my life, and I adored him. But my mom's biological father is different than that uncle's father. So, and that man is still alive. So my Uncle Mike's dad is still alive, but he isn't my mom's dad, to our knowledge.
Okay, hold on a second. Okay. Yeah, I'm not getting that he overdosed.
Okay.
I don't think he overdosed. I mean, no, let me rephrase that. Hold on.
Maybe not intentionally, and that's always what I was suspicious of, to be honest, but...
No, you know, I can tell you there's someone else involved.
I figured there was.
Yeah.
I always thought that.
Yeah. There was actually two people, but... Hold on. Okay. The woman... Yeah, the woman was present, but she wasn't really a part of it. She really was out of it. She kind of didn't know what the hell was going on. Mm-hmm. This guy, I can picture him. This was intentional. It was intentional. And yeah, and I think, no, hold on. No, let me rephrase that. I know that it did have to do with money and drugs for
Yep.
sure. And this guy had been, wow, yeah, he had been friends with Michael. They were friends.
They were friends.
Yeah. Yeah, this wasn't, yeah, your uncle didn't die by his own hand.
This man had the nerve to try to grieve with us as a family, which now in hindsight makes me like how could you? You know, like how could you?
No.
It happened very close to the first of the month. My Uncle Mike, remember I told you, my mom's side had a lot of mental issues.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
Michael was an albino. He was medicated for a lot of mental health issues. He was like on lithium and like he had a lot of issues.
Wait a minute, was he on like disability?
Yes,
Like,
yes.
yeah. Okay,
Yes.
that makes sense.
And
Yeah.
it happened around the first of the month, and that always made me so suspicious. So Uncle Michael was one of those people that he was electric. Like he was a singer, he was a performer, like he was just something else entirely. So even though he was an addict and he had problems, he was still a huge part of our lives. You know, my parents didn't keep us from him. Like obviously if he was in a stupor, he wasn't welcome, but he would always spruce himself up enough to be able to like come to Christmas, you know, so he was a huge part of my life. My brother is following the same path that Michael took with drugs issues and not really getting his life together. But the reason I wanted to bring this up was that when Michael died, the police were just like, because he was just like another junkie or not, you know, they didn't do any kind of investigation or none of that. They didn't care. And this man, Harry, who was the friend, had the nerve to like try and be there for my family. He was supposedly the last person to see Michael alive, claims that he left him in the hotel room and that was it. So we never believed it, but we didn't have proof. We didn't have any proof. And, you know, you can say a lot of things about someone who uses drugs, but because he was on disability, that money that he would get on the 1st and the 15th, he was like rich for that week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he basically died on the 1st whenever he got his money, and then he wasn't found until shortly after 4th of July. So he was in there for days. Like they had to go in hazmat suits. Like it was traumatizing. And I miss him greatly. He was special.
I feel like you have a lot of him. Like you have that artsy, charismatic artsy side too. Yeah.
I would say that.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, I had a friend whose daughter died of an overdose, and I told her right away, I'm like, that's not true. She didn't die. She didn't die by her own hand. And so I actually went to the police, and they actually reopened the investigation.
Amazing.
And, yeah. So that happens all the time, though. It doesn't matter what state you're in. Doesn't matter where you are in the U.S. If you're a junkie, that's all you are to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is sad.
Absolutely.
You know,
I don't think people realize that the majority of people, almost everyone that ends up in that position, is trying to medicate some kind of pain or some kind of external feeling. No one's like, I want to be addicted to drugs. There's a reason that ends up being your outlet, you know? So I always feel compassion for people that are addicted to drugs because I know that it comes from a place that they probably can't control. So, you know, these people that are like, just pull up your shoes and keep it moving.
Yeah,
It's not that easy.
Right.
It's not that easy. I know
I can tell you, our 28-year-old son, October 7th was his 6-year sobriety date. He's been clean and sober for 6 years off of heavy drugs. And, all right, hon. Well, do you have any questions or?
I mean, you answered a lot of my questions, truly. I'm excited to kind of pay closer attention to Levi.
Yeah, definitely.
And I want to give him like special time, kind of like just me and him, and just kind of us existing together without a lot of pressure, just to see where that goes. I'm gonna kind of stop looking at it as like an autism thing and just kind of look at it as a human thing.
Yeah, I would let the teachers and everybody think what they want to think. You know, you're his mom. You know, and just be there for him and support him, and you'll start seeing more things as he grows and gets older.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, whatever else I get, I'll let you know, because there were some other things that I didn't want to tell you yet because I don't know what they mean right now.
I understand that.
You know, so I'll let you know as soon as I get.
That validation is something that I desperately needed. Just so you know. Like, desperately. This is something that's haunted my family for many, many years. Many years. And, you know, even family members of his, he was a drug addict. We knew this was going to happen one day. And it's like, you know, no, we didn't.
Right.
Not like that.
Right.
So, I don't know. If he comes to you, give him a hug.
I definitely will. But you know, if I get any more, I'll let you know too. But, you know, it's the guy that did this. Is he still alive?
I think so. He's not in contact. We're not in contact with him. You know, when Michael died, of course, he made this whole big, you know, to-do of like being there for my family. But eventually he just went away. I don't even have like a last name for him. I'm sure I could find it, but I just know he's another one of those that wasn't as advertised.
Yeah. I just feel like for some reason he's not with us.
He might be dead. I mean, he was so spectacular. He really was. He would have loved my kids, man. He would have loved my kids. He did.
Okay, guys. Well, so I had the pleasure of meeting Amanda, and I did her reading, and that's that. And so I'm going to go. If you need to get a hold of me, you can email me at victoriapaxton.psychic@gmail.com. Bye, Amanda.
Bye, my friend.
Love you, girl.
Love you.